Okay, all right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hi, everybody. I actually don't. You're in the same time zone as me, Jonathan.
Yes, hi.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Just catch people up. Who are you? Just so we can get on the same page as quick as humanly possible. And also,
So
where you're
where I'm in Seattle. I am one of the maintainers of Micrometer, and I am one of the members of the Spring engineering team. Also, I'm one of the leaders of the Seattle Java user group.
the Seattle Java user group is
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah. So, and I think we've had you on the show before, at least on the podcast.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we've been on the YouTube together. Probably have. Yeah. No, we did
some code. Yes.
I remember now. This was like early last year. Yeah, it's good to see you again. It's been way too long. And
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And obviously, I have no patience. But if I did, and if I was willing to like sit still for a minute, I could just sit a little bit longer, and you and I would see each other again in Vegas at Spring One. So for those of you who are going, find us, find him, find the guy. Yeah, I'm really super glad to see you. Obviously, it's been difficult to sit still and sync up. We are. I don't know. I'm just curious. Chat. Where are you all joining us from today? Where is everybody coming in from today? Because it's. I always wonder about these live streams. Early in the morning. Well, it's not even. It's early. It's late morning, early afternoon here in California, which is to say bedtime or dinner time, at least for most of Western Europe. And it just gets worse the further. Like it's already way past bedtime in Eastern Asia, that kind of thing. So okay, anyway, I'm glad to see everybody here. Let us know where you're coming in from. Switzerland, 8:10. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us. So this is the after dinner crowd at best for people. For the States, people are at work. This is like, there's no great time to stream. That's the point here. Wait, do you have a book called Monolith?
Say it again.
You've got a book called Monolith.
I haven't heard about that.
Look right behind you.
Oh, that's not a book.
What is that? You have a monolith? You have a monolith about monoliths? Oh,
so
it's a CD?
This one is my personal desktop monolith. I got this from Glenn Renfro. I guess like 2 years ago on DevNexus, and this is from the movie like Space Odyssey.
2001.
Yeah, you know that like.
Do you do the?
You know those like comic book like action figures? This is the coolest comic book action figure. Like. So yeah, I have this with me all the time. That gives me like powers like to be able to code.
And it totally checks out that it comes from Glenn, who is hysterical. Oh goodness! Oh, that's so good. Wow, the most inert action figure ever.
He also has one. That's how I get it. I spotted the same way in the background over Zoom when we had a meeting.
Oh man, I love that guy so much. Oh.
So, Glenn, if you are listening or watching this, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. This is cool.
Glenn is on the Spring team. He's the nicest. Period. There, I don't have to qualify. He's just the nicest, and he's famously hysterically funny. I mean, oh goodness, and he's got the greatest T-shirts. And yes. He's like you. He's also a jug leader, right? He's also in the community.
Yes, he's one of the leaders of the Atlanta Java user group, and he became a Java champion a few months ago.
That's true. That was an easy one. Like we have. This is the I can't. This is the problem. Is I can't submit people from my own team. As a Java champion, so it's a lot of times it's like, okay, well, I have to talk to somebody, or somebody else to talk to somebody. Like, okay, please submit this person. Do you agree this person would be if you didn't know me in a vacuum, would this person still qualify? And of course, Glenn is one of those like, well, duh, yeah, obviously, Oh, there's so many, and this is the problem with the Java champion process is that there's a lot of people that come through the process that are like, most of the time the reaction is like, wait, that person wasn't already a Java champion, it just boggles the mind.
Oh, I have a funny story about that. Like, I am not a like a Java champion, but a few days ago, I'm not sure if you have seen, but there was an email from JConf. I am one of the like speakers there. You are a speaker as well. My name is next to yours. There was like, hey, these are the Java champions that are speaking on JConf. And my name is next to you on that list. And I was like, I'm not.
This is what I'm saying. People don't it's just assume that if you're at your level, we should see if we can do something about that. The like I said, it's really painful because I can't do it myself because of perceived conflicts or whatever. So I have to like entreat others, and it's not hard. You just gotta you just say, oh, by the way, hey, this guy or that Cal or whatever, and most of the time it's like, oh, let's do it, happily. Well, okay, you're a Java champion in my heart, buddy. That's what matters.
Thank you.
And the reason you're a Java champion is because you work on, it's not just one guy. It's like, well, it's a huge community, but there's two people working steadfastly on Micrometer, which is now, it's got this incredible life of its own, right? One of the very first guests on the podcast was Jonathan Schneider, not Tin, and that was back in 2018, something like that, 2019. And obviously you and I have talked on the show several times since then. So it's just, but every time I look, the project, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets more widely used. First of all, I guess for the people that just woke up from a nap under a rock, what is Micrometer or micro? Okay, actually, better yet, you have European roots. How do you pronounce the name of the project?
So almost every time that you can hear me pronouncing the project name, that's probably the wrong pronunciation. So I usually defer to Tommy, but he's unfortunately not here. So you can pronounce it as micrometer and micrometer. And I usually go with the first one, and the second one is closer to the right one. I think. So it is named after the measuring instrument.
Right. Yeah, a micrometer in a lab or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I say micrometer because it sounds cool. It sounds like.
But it doesn't matter. Like, you can pronounce it any or both ways. People will know what you're talking about.
Right. Okay. So that project. So, and what does it do? Like, why do I use that instead of log4j or JUnit or Commons GBCP? Like, what does it do?
So it started as a metrics library because back in 2017 there were no dimensional metrics library on the JVM. So that's where John started the project, and it was or it inspired a lot from the Netflix library called Spectator, and it was basically a fresh start for a new metrics library. But since then, we extended it by a lot. Back at the day when Spring Boot 3 was released, what was that, almost 2 years ago, 1.5?
You mean 2?
No, Spring Boot 3.
Okay, but it came out for 2.0, right?
So sorry. So Micrometer 1.0 was released in 2017.
Right. Yeah.
7 years ago. And back then, or until 2021, it was let's say just a metrics library.
Right.
Though it's the de facto standard of the metrics libraries, it is most probably the most popular one. Everyone is using it, and it is also built into the Spring projects as well. So the
Yeah.
Spring portfolio heavily depending on Micrometer, and Spring is instrumenting itself using Micrometer. So,
Right. But it's not just Spring, is it? Right?
yes,
Like
it's not just Spring. Like Quarkus has Micrometer support, Micronaut has Micrometer support, Hibernate, like basically half of the world has like Micrometer support. If you have a library and you want like observability support for that, most probably check it out. Most probably that library has like a dash Micrometer module that you can just get in and you can use it.
and even other libraries sometimes depend on Micrometer. It's like Log4j, right? It's one of those things where you transitively pull it in, and you just change the output.
Yes, Micrometer is a very, very low level on the stack, and I believe it's we have a really good like indicator for that, because like a few years ago we wanted to release Micrometer 2.0.
Yeah.
And we were not able to. Like it was like so many projects were like depending on it. Like, hey, no, please don't do like those changes. Keep Micrometer like backwards compatible. So yeah, Micrometer is basically backwards compatible since like 2017. Most of the releases are like drop-in replacements. Like you don't even need to do much of things if you want to do the upgrade.
Wow.
So. But it is not just a metrics library, because when Spring Boot 3 was released, like around that time, we did like just go ahead.
Sorry, can you mention some of the things that are using it? I know Rabbit. Didn't Rabbit use it, or does Rabbit use it? Like
RabbitMQ's Java client is using it. We also have Kafka support, but it is not in the Kafka client. It would be ideal. So if you're using Kafka, or if you know Kafka developers, please let them know that we would like this like instrumentation support to be in Kafka. But if you go to Micrometer.io, our website, and pick Micrometer from the documentation, there is a section called Micrometer Observation. And Micrometer Observation has a subsection called Instrumented Projects. So let me talk about like Micrometer Observation in a second, but you can find there like Camel, like Apache Camel, Apache CXF, Apache Double, HTTP components, Skywalking, Armeria, Couchbase, gRPC, JDBC. We have instrumentation for the JDK HTTP client, Jersey, Cherry, JMS, Kotlin. We have like support for Lattice.
Wow, the Redis driver.
Yes, that's the Redis driver. I already mentioned like Micronaut, OK HTTP, OpenFeign, R2DBC. Yeah, we already mentioned like RabbitMQ. One big thing, Reactor. We have like support, Micrometer support built into Reactor, and that's a huge thing, because like instrumenting like reactive libraries, it's very, very hard. And it's not easy. We needed some time to figure that out. So it's pretty hard. But due to the work of like Dariush, who is like working on Reactor, and Marcin, who is working with the Spring Observability team, we have cool instrumentation with Reactor. And yeah, of course, like RSocket, the whole Spring portfolio, it is instrumented using Micrometer. Spring AI is upcoming. Christian Solov, he's working on it. I'm not sure when, but we started like a discussion about it, and he started integrating it with Micrometer.
Yeah.
So, but
snapshots.
Yep.
Okay. So carry on. I'm sorry. I just wanted people to understand it's not just a Java Spring thing. It's a Java thing.
It's a JVM thing. You can use it with any JVM language. And also it is not just a metrics library. It used to be like that. It was a metrics library for a while, but with this Spring Boot 3 timeline, we added a couple of things. For example, like there was a project called Spring Cloud Sleuth. And Sleuth was the distributed tracing support for Spring projects. And Sleuth had like one problem with it was its name. It started with Spring Cloud. So it was distributed tracing only for Spring projects. You needed Spring Boot and you needed Spring Cloud in order to use Sleuth. So what we did, we basically like get the API and the implementation for like or bridges for tracing libraries from Sloot and moved under the Micrometer umbrella.
Nice.
So there is a new project under Micrometer tracing, under Micrometer called Micrometer Tracing, which is not very new because Sloot was started in 2015. So that project is like, it will be 10 years old soon. So yeah, what we did, we moved out the API and the bridges to Micrometer Tracing, and the instrumentation, it moved to the Spring portfolio. So for example, if you want to instrument like Spring MVC, then it is now instrumented in Spring MVC, as it should be. So if there is a new thing in Spring MVC and there is a new release of it, and if you need instrumentation support, the new release will automatically contain it. Or if there is like a change and it is changing something observability related stuff, the new release will automatically have it, which is an awesome thing. So yeah, we are trying to encourage projects, frameworks, libraries who has some sort of instrumentation, somewhere to move that instrumentation inside of their projects, because with that, the instrumentation will move together with the project lifecycle, which is the best place to have instrumentation for.
And it's also really nice because it's very, very lightweight, right? You don't have other dependencies really, except for the client libraries sometimes of the things being instrumented, right?
Yes. But, so Micrometer, it has like optional dependencies. One of them is called HDR histogram, and the other one is latency utils. Both of them are written by Gil Tannen. And those are dependencies that you might want if you want to use certain features of Micrometer. If you don't need those features, you can omit them. And of course, like if you want like instrumentation support for, I don't know, the Kafka client, you need the Kafka client. But I believe that's kind of understandable because you want to use that thing anyways.
Sure,
yeah.
Okay. Super ubiquitous, right? Like and it's like you said, it's already in Spring Boot. It's been there for years. It's already in countless other libraries. Like you probably already have it on the class. It's like Log4j. It's just everywhere.
Yes. Also, if you are using like Spring Boot Actuator brings this in for you. And there was another like awesome thing we released. Yes, that's what I want to talk about, the observation API. So this is also like the time frame of Spring Boot 3. So with Spring Boot 3, we released a new set of APIs under the Micrometer umbrella. It is called the Observation API. And the idea behind of that was, let's say that you have like a component that you want to instrument. It can be like a homegrown HTTP client or like a database or whatever, doesn't matter, or your business logic. And you want to instrument it. So you kind of need to do this like multiple times. Let's say that you will have like a need for metrics. So you will instrument your code with metrics. You will add a timer, start and stop it, whatever.
Right.
Then a week later, you will think like, hey, I will need distributed tracing as well. So you need to go back, modify the code, and add instrumentation for distributed tracing. Now you have two.
Right.
Then you say like, hey, I want to add logging. Again, you go back, increase the boilerplate. You will have logging. Then somebody will say, hey, we don't have audit logging for this thing. So you will add like an audit capabilities, and I don't know, it will basically just like save events into an audit database table. And every single time you want to add something like observability related, you need to do this again and again and again and modify the code. Sometimes it is not even possible if the code lives outside of your component, that it is not under your control, which is most of your open source libraries. So in order to solve this, we come up with the Observation API. And the Observation API says that, hey, don't worry about like these like implementation details. Just instrument your application and create observations. Like you start an observation, you stop an observation, you signal an error. And what the observation is API is doing, what Anisul mentioned, it will basically notify another component called observation handlers. And these handlers will basically like receive these events. Hey, somebody started an observation, somebody stopped it, somebody signaled an error, whatsoever. So we do have a metrics observation handler, which will create a timer. If you start an observation, it will start the timer. If you stop the observation, it will stop the timer. We have a tracing handler. It will do the same thing with the span, start and stop span, signaling errors on that. So
Right.
if you want like metrics and your component is instrumented, the only thing that you need to do is to register a observation handler and say, hey, this is my handler, use this. If
Yeah.
you want tracing on top of it, hey, this is my handler, use that. Without modifying the instrumentation code, without modifying the business logic or the component or the library that you are using, you
Right.
can add these benefits.
When you use an observation, it's just you're wrapping some line of code or some lines of code, right? It's like
Yes.
you basically provide like a runnable and it
Yes.
or a spire or whatever, and it's just
you are
you just-
basically like recording what happens.
right.
Actually,
But
that's also like an.
it's like a
sorry, say
template.
again?
It's like a template method, like execute do in observation or something like that. You know.
We do have that capability as well. Like you can basically like do this like on multiple ways. One, when you have like full control and you like start and stop the observation and do whatever you want, in between. And we also have like, hey, give me a method reference and I will do that for you. So you just like say, hey, make this method observable. We also have an @observed annotation that does basically the same thing. You just add the @observed annotation onto a method and it will create this instrumentation for you for that method. And later on, you can add these like behavioral things like, hey, I want metrics, I want logging, I want tracing, I want custom things.
Right. Yeah. But it's just very consistent, right? It's very easy to introduce it to your code without being tied to either the implementation of the thing or the behavior of the thing, right? Whether it's metrics or logging or whatever is pluggable, and whether I'm doing metrics with Graphite versus Prometheus versus whatever, that's pluggable later as well. Really,
yes.
I love that API, and it's minimally invasive too. Is I guess what I'm trying to say.
It's pretty small, no dependencies. Like you can just like use the API, and your users basically can decide what data they will want to get out of that API.
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
Or
okay.
the recording of the of your code blocks.
Well, so all of this is like, okay, that's Micrometer 101 for people. By the way, speaking of 202, there is you and teammate Tommy Ludwig did a talk at Spring I/O, which is making the rounds. People are loving it. That's a really good talk. The more advanced.
Yes, it was a little bit like more advanced topic. It was kind of like a continuation of so. This year, Tommy and I did a talk about observability, and that was the more advanced talk. And last year, Marcin and Tommy did one. That was basically the basics of observation. So we did some recap, but if you want to learn a little bit more about observability, like watch both. Also, the more advanced talk has some surprise at the end.
I won't spoil it. Anyway, go watch that talk. That's a good. I should find it. Let me see here. What's the Spring I/O YouTube?
Micrometer Mastery. That's the title of the talk.
Yes, but Micrometer Mastery. Okay, Micrometer. There it is. There it is. Very good video. Very good talk. Very illustrative. There we go. Posting that live. Where's that link? Here we go. Putting that on stream so people can see it if I'm not looking at the chat. Go watch that video. It's on the and in general, you should definitely subscribe to the Spring I/O YouTube channel. There's always good stuff there. But okay, so you've got this incredible project, and it's mature enough that you can do a whole hour advanced talk and still not cover everything, right?
No. Like if you want to cover everything, that would be like a week of a talk, or maybe more. I don't know.
And I think, and we mentioned Tommy. I love Tommy. I love you. I like the whole team is just amazing. You mentioned Marcin, who's he's not full time on Micrometer, but does do a lot of it, right? Like he does contribute a lot.
Mostly he most of his time he's spending on Micrometer, but he's also like part of the Spring Cloud project because of
Right,
like Spring Cloud Sleuth, like, and also like he has a project there that he started Spring Cloud Contract.
right, which is
And
great.
there was more, and yeah, he also like works on like different bits and pieces of the Spring Cloud portfolio.
Right. Yeah, he's another legend, just like you, and he's one of the amazing teammates that work on it. And these are from core Spring team. But what I love about Micrometer is because of its reach, because of what you just described, it's ubiquitous. Everybody's using it, and it's this incredibly wonderful community. You mentioned our old friend Johnny earlier. Can you tell us about him?
Oh yes, so we have like a contributor in Micrometer and also like in the Spring portfolio, and his name is Johnny Lim, and
Yeah.
he just reached a few months ago, I guess, like 1,000 commits in Micrometer. Like he and I believe he's right now at 1,023. So soon he will reach like another big milestone, which is like 2 on the power of 10 number of commits. uh, so yeah, he is a absolute legend, and I believe like I can say this for everyone that I believe like Tommy as well. Like we feel bad about like other projects where like Johnny Lim is not contributing to. He's doing a lot of work, and
And he's not.
yeah,
He's just some person on the internet, right? Like, is
yep,
he Spring officially part of the Micrometer or Spring team?
pretty much. So he's not. He used to be like a committer, like in the Micrometer repo, but he's not employed by VMware, Broadcom, or none of these companies that has ties with Spring. He basically just a guy from the internet. He lives in like South Korea and works there, and apparently he's doing a lot of open source contribution in the open source world. So yeah, Johnny, if you are watching this or hearing this, like, thank you very much. You are most of ours hero. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. I love that this project inspires really great people like that. You know, that's so cool. So okay, it's an amazing team. It's a community effort, but there's some people that are really leading the charge. You know, so I appreciate that. You've got a lot of new features, right? Like, I think the reason it works so well is you've got these incredible. Well, first of all, you've got this incredible supported ecosystem. So I imagine you're always very busy keeping up with the latest dependencies and keeping up with the new, clients and all that. And that must be a full-time job by itself. How does that get managed? Like, are you required to upgrade to the latest version of something immediately, or do you wait, or how does that happen?
Yeah, so it is Micrometer is, I would say, it's a pretty challenging project. It has like instrumentation for a lot of things, so it has like a lot of dependencies. It has backend support for another, like we support like 20 plus metrics backends, and some of those like we are using their client library. So yeah, Micrometer has like a bunch of optional dependencies, and yeah, we need to keep them up to date. And we are using like nowadays like Dependabot for that. We just used Git, not Git, like Gradle log files, and just upgrade them like manually or like semi-manually. But now like Dependabot is like opening PRs for us. We usually do is like twice per month, once per month, where we basically like upgrade everything. And it is not really like it doesn't make sense to do this more frequently, because we will release like once per month anyway. So
Yeah.
you will get those new releases like every single month. If somebody will issue like a new version, then we will pick that up and include it in Micrometer, and it will depend on it.
So sometimes you've got. I mean, most of the clients are pretty good, but what happens if the client is slow, or takes a long time to get to a stable place or something? And in particular, I'm thinking about Prometheus here. Like,
Oh,
Prometheus,
So yeah, what happened with Prometheus is Prometheus was on version number 0 point something. I believe 0.16 was the last version that they had for 9 years. And last year they released Prometheus 1.0.
Okay.
So we waited a little bit for because we had other things to work on and for things to getting stable. And after that we basically upgraded. And if you are a user of Micrometer Registry Prometheus, then you might have seen this in May when we released Micrometer 1.13. We basically upgraded Micrometer from Prometheus 0.x to 1.x. And that was a breaking change in Prometheus. So what we did, if you are in this situation, and I highly recommend to go to either the release notes or to the Micrometer wiki, there is a migration guide. But if you're using a framework, most probably you haven't even noticed this.
Yeah.
Because most of the things are the same, and the framework will do the configuration, auto configuration for you. If you're, for example, using Spring Boot, you probably did not even notice that this happened. But if you are using something that doesn't do this, or do you need to do this on your own, or you are using the Prometheus APIs directly, then you needed to do some work and do the migration. From the Micrometer side, though, the only change was we changed the name of the package.
And the artifact.
That we did not. So the artifact is Micrometer Registry Prometheus. But what we did is we introduced a new artifact. So the artifact that was migrated, that is using that you used to use, that is using now Prometheus 1.x. But what we did, we copied the 0.x bits under a different artifact, which is Micrometer Registry Prometheus Simple Client. So if you don't want to upgrade, then the only thing that you need to do is just use a different artifact name, and that's it. So when you basically do the version number upgrade, and you just type from Micrometer 1.12 to 1.13, and if that's causing problems to you, then instead of just doing just 1.13, you are just doing under, or not underscore, hyphen simple client in the name of the dependency, and you are good.
Otherwise, just stay where you are in the artifact, and you'll get the new package and an easy enough change.
Exactly.
Okay, easy. And again, I didn't even notice it because I was using Spring Boot, and I get it via actually anyway. So whatever. Okay, so that and sometimes things change as well, right? You deprecate things. You've had some interesting deprecations that aren't exactly bad. They're just the Jersey one was kind of interesting to me. What can you tell us about that one?
Yes. So we basically deprecated the instrumentation for Jersey because that lived in Micrometer, but now Jersey basically instruments itself using Micrometer. So yeah, it's a much better place, because if something is changing in Jersey, the instrumentation will get that change automatically, because the Jersey maintainers will change it. And if it would be instrumented in Micrometer, then you basically need to wait for the next release of Micrometer to add the support for that new change or new version of Jersey.
Right.
So yeah, that is deprecated because of now it's in a much better place. So instead of using the Micrometer support for Jersey, you can just include the Micrometer Jersey dependency on your class path, and you're good.
I love it. And then I was very sad, just very, very sad to see that you disappointed, frustrated, sad, and shocked really that you deprecated Hystrix. What's that about? What?
Yeah, so Hystrix is a library that has been deprecated for, I don't know, for 5 years now, maybe more. I don't even remember. So
are you saying I should upgrade my code? Come on. It's only been 5 years. I want another half decade.
So yeah, we also deprecated like the history support that we had in Micrometer. It is still there, so if you want to use it, it's available for you, but it's now in a deprecated state.
Okay. And then okay, so deprecation's behind us. Moving on. I don't understand some of these new features that you added because the basics are really good. But again, when you get into the details, which is not where I belong, right? I'm glad I have people like you that can do this stuff for me because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get my stuff in production, and Micrometer is the most powerful way to do that for observability, right? What does it mean what is this meter provider thing like? What is that? I saw that in the release notes, and I don't know.
So the meter provider is basically implementing a feature which was the most requested like feature in Micrometer back like a year ago or so. And what it does, it is basically like helping you. It's kind of like, from one hand, it's kind of like a syntactic sugar. It will make creating meters in some situations in a much concise way without like less boilerplate.
So the meters are like a counter, a
timer.
Yeah, just
yes, exactly.
Right.
Meter is basically everything that you can use to instrument what is happening inside of your application for metrics. And that's we have like Micrometer, this concept of a meter, and we have like many meters like counters, gauges, timers, and so on. We have quite a few of them. You can see them in the documentation. So
but
what meter
number associated with something, right? Like they're yeah, okay, and so you can they can be painful to create because there's a lot of metadata associated with them and
so once when you want to create, for example, like a counter, you can do it in like multiple ways, and one of the ways is basically like using a builder for that. And you like just like go ahead and define the name of the counter, like some unit of it, a description, a bunch of like tags, and then you at the end you just register it and increment it. Now the problem is that you can, like, if you have all of this data that you define here is like static, you can just have like a private like final like counter somewhere in your component and just do the increment. The problem is that if the data is not static, then you basically need to create this builder in your code every single time, because like one of its fields, like this is usually like tags, like one of its tags are like, it can be dynamic. And it can change basically like every request, and it can like have like different values for like different, for example, like requests or like different calls of that method. So what the meter provider is doing, it is basically templating it. It is saying that, hey, you can define all of these things that are static and not changing under the meter provider, and later on, when the dynamic things will come in, then you are just defining those. Like, hey, this is my like dynamic like key values, and everything else, the rest, it is defined somewhere else. So it's kind of like templating the meter creation out, and it basically makes a bunch of things like much shorter when you record that thing that you want to.
Nice.
Also, it is a little bit, it has some like performance impact as well, in a good way, because you don't need to recreate the builder every single time.
Nice.
So yeah, we measure that it has some like it is good for performance if you are instrumenting your application like that.
And
if you,
I know this is an obvious question, I guess, for you, but how do you measure your own performance?
Oh yeah, we have like we are using like JMH.
Okay, so
and also we have JStress or JC stress like tests as well. So we are like JC stress is not for like mostly for performance. It is like for like testing like behaviors in like highly concurrent environments.
Right.
But yeah, we have like JMH tests that we can like execute, and we can compare like, hey, what if we are doing this, or what if we are doing that? Which one is like faster in a certain environment?
Okay, and I mean it stands to reason that Micrometer would be very good at testing their performance, measuring their own performance. Okay,
Yes.
so I dig that. Can I use the meter provider to help configure all this new extra metadata that I saw added to certain time series, exemplars, etc.? Are they related?
Oh yeah, so not a lot, because like so what you mentioned, exemplars, that is basically a feature in I believe right now it's only available in Prometheus for like the open source metrics backends. And what it does, it lets you basically like attach metadata to your metric values. And that metadata can contain, for example, like the span ID and the trace ID. So you can use exemplars or this metadata to correlate traces and metrics.
Right.
So you can, if you have like a data point, like I don't know, like maximum latency was 200 milliseconds at this point of time, you can have like an example trace ID for that as well. And you can look into the distributed trace, like, hey, why was it 200 milliseconds? Why it is that high or that low? I don't know in your situation. But yeah, and what we did, so because of this, because like this exemplar is attached automatically in the background, you cannot really use like meter provider for that. It is because like you don't need to, it is happening automatically for you. If you just add like the exemplar sampler, and if you're using boot, it is doing that for you out of the box, then yeah, you will get these exemplars out of the box as well. So the change that you were referring to, what we did is exemplars were only available for Prometheus counters and histogram buckets. And that was it. Like that, these were the only two like histogram buckets.
Oh,
so if you had like a so if you had like a Prometheus histogram, the buckets, they can contain exemplars. But histograms in Prometheus, and there are like summaries as well in Prometheus, they don't include, or they include a counter as well. And that counter did not have exemplars. If you have like just a normal counter, they do. And this did not make too much like sense. It is like a kind of like a missing feature, because like if you are using a histogram, for example, for like some latency scenarios, you can use these bucket exemplars to track down latency issues. But if you are using this for like a throughput scenario or an error rate, you cannot, because the counter did not contain the exemplar. You cannot go there because the metadata is missing. So what we did, we basically like reached out to the Prometheus folks and asked them, like the Prometheus maintainers, that, hey, like, can we add this? And they said yes. I opened a pull request. So Prometheus now, the Prometheus server now has support for these like extra exemplars, and that's what we did in Micrometer as well. Like we added support to that. Wow. And when we did that, we were thinking about like, hey, all of the versions of Prometheus that now has this capability, it's like so old that even the Prometheus team doesn't support that. So why we would not do this by default? So we did this by default, and that apparently made a few people angry who needed to like upgrade Prometheus because of this extra functionality. But now, if you are using the latest Micrometer version, because like the Prometheus client 1.0 has this functionality, has this property in it, you can turn this on and off. Like you can say that, hey, I want exemplars for everything, or I only want exemplars for those things that are supported by like an older version of Prometheus.
Hopefully we'll see. Is there any way for some of this stuff to become available at other providers besides Prometheus? Is it like strictly just them, or who else has exemplar support?
So there are right now, as far as I know, there are two like line protocols that support exemplars. One of them is the Open Metrics protocol that is used by Prometheus, but nothing prevents you to use it or create a metrics backend to use it. It's an open standard.
Right.
It has exemplar support, and the other one is OTLP. And OTLP also has like exemplar support. So all of the metrics backends that has support either for Open Metrics or like Prometheus or for OTLP, they have a potential of having like exemplars. But it is still like kind of a new, and by new I mean like it is started like getting like popularity, like I don't know, 4 years ago or so, 5 maybe. So it is not that new, but in the terms of like metrics backend support, I would say it is still new because like there are still a lot of metrics backends that are not supporting it.
Amazing. Okay, well, I cannot wait to watch. We have a comment here. Looking forward to existing thread metrics covering virtual threads. What does that mean?
There is a pull request right now in Micrometer because Micrometer instruments the JVM itself as well. Like we have metrics for garbage collectors. We also have metrics for threads. So you can see like how many threads are waiting, how many threads are blocked, how many are like doing some work, and so on. And this one, like what the comment mentions, it's for virtual threads. Because unfortunately, that is a little bit different for virtual threads or like platform threads. You can get like platform threads metrics through JMX. But for virtual thread metrics, I don't know why, but it is also stated in the chat of virtual threads, this is not available. You need to listen for JFR, like a Java or the JDK flight recorder events to get those metrics. I'm not 100% sure why it is like that, why it is like different in like one type of threads and different in another. But yeah, this is something that we can add like later on in Micrometer as a new feature in a new feature release.
Cool. And everybody benefits from it. See, they just upgrade Spring Boot. They get Micrometer. Micrometer upgrades that stuff, and it's just transparent. I love that. It's an amazing project, my friend. I appreciate you taking the time to kind of walk us through some of this stuff. What should people be looking out for? What's the big thing on the horizon? Or is it just go to Spring 1?
So one, what they should look for, look at the documentation. We have a new doc site. If you want to like learn more about Micrometer, that's like the best thing that you can do to start. Like look at the docs and read about the concepts in Micrometer. There are also a few like observability related feature that we are going to add, or maybe like some of them were added into Spring Boot. Like one of them is a process info. Oh wait, sorry, that is not upcoming. That was also added and released. I added like a process info contributor. You will get like information about the running process or the running JVM. Like what is the process ID? What is the like who is the owner of the process? What is the parent process? What is the available CPU count? And in order to like make this complete, I also added like a feature for process memory information related things. Like you can see like in the info endpoint, the memory usage of your process. This is extremely interesting in like containerized environments like Kubernetes. So that is upcoming. That is an upcoming feature. It was already merged in to Spring Boot. And I also have a pull request for SSL info contributor and SSL health indicator. What it does for the new like SSL like bundles feature, it will basically gather all of the bundles that you are using, and it will give you information about the certificates that you are using, like who is the issuer, what is the subject, what is the expiry date. And it also has like a health check that will say that, hey, your certificate is expired, or your certificate is going to expire within a threshold. And you can define the threshold. You can say that, hey, let me know if I have an expiring certificate in the next 1 month.
Oh.
And you can see that in your info endpoint or your health check. It can warn you. It will not like make your service like going down if you will have an expiring certificate in the next like 1 month or a week or something.
Right. Yeah.
You can define that, but it will tell you that, hey, you need to renew that because it is going to cause an issue for you.
Oh, that's so good.
That is a pull request right now. I'm not sure how it will go. Let's see. We also have like Spring AI instrumentation is in the works. Christian is working on it. That's great. And Tommy is working on exponential histograms, which is like an interesting like new thing that we want to add to Micrometer. So that feature is basically like if you want to use Micrometer as of today, Micrometer has like one histogram bucketing strategy, which means like the histogram buckets are fixed. This is kind of a must if you want to like aggregate them. Like one application and the other, they need to use the same buckets. Otherwise, you will not be able to like combine. And exponential histograms is basically a different bucketing strategy that we are planning to add to Micrometer. First, maybe only to OpenTelemetry, but maybe to Prometheus as well very soon, or like maybe we will make it like as a general thing that you can use it with any backend. Let's see. So that is also in the works.
Okay, I can't wait. And when will people? So all this stuff is in Micrometer, but when will it bubble up to something in like Spring Boot? Is that like November?
Yes. So because of that, the release train, like we usually release on the second Monday of the month. You can see that if you go to like calendar.spring.io, you will see the release calendar, and Boot is like releasing 2 weeks after that.
After
November. Not even 2 weeks. Like it will be in November. The next GA release, we are going to release Micrometer like 1.14, and Boot is going to release Boot 3.4.0.
Yeah.
And as we like release these new features, like we are together with the Boot team adding like the support continuously into Boot. So by the time we reach the release, or like close to the release, like the first RC, like the release candidate, by that time everything is basically supported by Boot.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Are you on the internet? And if so, do you want to be found? And if so, where can people find you?
So you can find me in various places. I have a website, developers.com.
I saw it.
And
amazing. The picture.
And oops, it's to developers. I mistyped it.
Is that it? I think I got it.
Yes, it is. So you can find me there. You can find my Twitter handle, like LinkedIn handle as well. It also has like a talks section. So you will see the upcoming talks. So where I am talking at conferences. Yep. You can reach out to me at any of those channels. Also, we have a Slack channel of Micrometer. If you go to like slack.micrometer.io, which is also available on the website. So if you just go to micrometer.io, you will see the link to Slack. And if you just click on it, and if you have like any questions, just join these like Slack workspace, and just like talk to us.
And of course,
open an issue or a pull request.
Right. And if you're in Seattle, you probably see this guy every month anyway. So
if you go to any events of the Seattle Java user group, there is a high chance I will be there. So if you have like questions about like Observability, Micrometer, Spring, whatever, just come to one of our events. Probably give me a heads up before that so that I will make sure I will be there.
Okay. Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend, a great day. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.